What's up, people? Yeah, man, just trying to work a few kinks out. Trying to work out a few kinks, YouTube don't want to help a brother out, you know? So a brother got to help himself out. But it's good to see the peeps in the house. I appreciate you all being here today. Honestly do. So let me pop the chat out so that this way I can see what's going on. So say hello. Yes, sir. I am here. Thank you all. Mr. Pirate Brain, what's up? And Links for Life, what's up, brothers? I appreciate you all being here today. Shazam, the iPad. Shazam, the iPad producer. Yo, I want to see if you are actually an iPad. I want to see your setup. I've been making a call for folks to send me videos of their studios, and I don't know how I'm gonna incorporate this thing, but I'm really interested in seeing what you guys are doing, man. It's not about me, it's about you. So I would definitely want to see what's going on in your place and tell me what you're up to. But if you are an iPad producer, I see people actually doing making music on an iPad. I'm more of a traditionalist, but yeah, definitely, man. Hit me up on my email and let me know. I want to see your setup, really, honestly. Yeah, Clip Wilson is in the house, and my cousin Deborah. Thank you so much, Deborah. She's a faithful tuner inner faithful viewer. Let me stop playing. But no, I appreciate her being here. Deborah, this is for you. Thank you so much. And check out my channel. I show folks what an iPad can. Okay, I will. I most definitely will. I want to see your workflow, because that's important. To me at least, because everybody, one time someone told me 3 + 3 is 6, 4 + 2 is 6, 5 + 1 is 6. So everybody has a different way of doing things. And yeah, I definitely would like to see that. You said you got way more gear. That's what my channel is about. Okay, cool. I'm going to check you out, man. I'm going to check you out. Frankie G Music. Hey, bro, love what you do. Good. Okay. Good. Listen, guys, honestly, thank you for sharing. Okay. It's not about me, it's about community. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not one of those that's going to be talking at you as much as I want to have a dialogue with you. That's what it's about with me. And yeah, most definitely. I appreciate you and definitely Frankie G and Shazam. I'm gonna check y'all out. And I might, if you have your emails up there, I might get in touch with you because I want you to do a studio tour. I want to do a studio tour live. I finally figured this whole streaming thing out. I'm getting better. I had a bit of a hiccup this morning, but yeah, it'd be cool if I could, feature your places, during the live stream, and then we could talk about that. How do I send the video? Said Mr. Private Brain. No, what you would do, what I've been asking people to do, check the community link, and I'll put it the entire spec as to how you should do the video for your channel. But I'm not, asking for anything overly technical. It's just that, as long as the video can be seen and we can hear what you're talking about, you're gonna take us on a journey in your place. Show me what you're working with, why you work with it, why you like it, what you've encountered using it. I mean, those things are important, I think, to everyone, because again, like I said, 4 + 2 is 6 and 5 + 1 is 6. You know what I mean? 3 and 3 is 6. Everybody does things differently and for different reasons, so I think it's important for everyone to as a community to share. Okay, Frankie G said he's about to start his own channel strictly on Afrobeat and African rhythms. Okay, well, Frankie, listen, I'm a good mentor. I appreciate you saying that, brother. I really do. Yeah, just do that. Do that, you know? Listen, man, this world is big, bro. It's big, man. And, you know, if that's what your thing is, you know, the world is big, man. Be a whole lot of people that's into what you're doing, you know, but you won't know if, you know, I always get a FaceTime. I'm going to put my wife on blast right now. Hang on a second. All right? Yeah, babes.
Did you,
Look, everybody. Guess who's on? Deborah, say hi to your cousin. Yeah, What? I'll have to get back to you, baby.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Bye, she said. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, bro. 10 equals 10 minus 4 equals 6. Yep. But listen, John, did you already review the KLARK TEKNIK 1176? Yeah, man. Whoa. This week has been a whirlwind. A whirlwind of an experience with that 1176. It was like I was teleported back in time because you know, it was a lot that I had to relearn and reconnect with. You know, I don't know if you all remember last week when I was saying that most of my career, you know, dealing with vocalists, what has given me the sound that I was looking for was pretty much a VCA based compressor. That's why you'll see umpteen DBX compressors in my rack, because that's what I became familiar with over 30 some odd years ago. That is the sound. That is pretty much the sound of a lot of R&B and early gospel, you know, which is where pretty much I started my journey. So quite naturally, you know, you're in outside studios, you hone in on what they have, and that's what they had primarily were the DBXs. So, you know, that was what I latched onto. But this week, dealing with that 1176, I'm gonna share with y'all some stuff in a minute, because I think there was a common problem that people having, and I'm going to, if you guys hang around, this is not gonna be long today, but I have a preview, something that I think is needed, because KLARK TEKNIK kind of dropped the ball on this one. You know, not in terms of the sound, not the compressor, the information that is provided to the end user. There's a difference. They did not provide good information, which means if you're a person that's short, you know, you're going to have a pretty rough ride getting going with this thing. So, you know, be prepared on that level, you know. But I had to do so much reaching out and talking to different people and everything else, and just to refamiliarize myself with why it was used in studios that I had worked in. Like it was one in the Bronx called Backstreet, up right off of Gun Hill Road, if anyone is from New York who knows where that is. And yeah, but the band that was in that day was a rock band, so quite naturally it made, you know, the room mics sound great, snare drum mics sound great, kick drums sound great running through it, you know, certain guitar grunge type of effects, if that's what you're looking for, it's gonna sound great. But I noticed that there is a common problem that most people were having. I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but let's look at a few questions right now. Frankie G said, can't wait for your review on the KLARKs. Well, short version on the KLARK TEKNIKs. It's sonically there. You know, it's sonically there. It has a learning curve. If you are willing to give it a chance, I say buy it. You know, you're not going to be, you know, disappointed. But I think there's I'm going to share with you all in a minute something. I also have another video I'm going to show you today. You guys are getting a preview of next week's video, because again, KLARK TEKNIK in their manual should have provided this information. They did not. Okay, you see, everyone, this is a beef that I have with a lot of manufacturers. They want to rush to the market with product. I ain't anti-capitalism, okay? That's your thing. The thing is off patent. You make it. You want to sell it. That's fine. They made it. They made it well. But the end user, unless you are truly, truly steeped and familiar with how to operate this thing, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. Period. You get in there and start twisting knobs like you see some of these people doing on these videos, you're going to be like, what in the world? Because there's something that has to happen with this unit that I'm going to show you in a video in a minute. We'll look at a preview of next week's information. So, Armando, let's take it from the top. John got you on the review. You're gonna see what I did with that in a minute. Mr. Pirate Brain, my brother. Armando is in the house. Armando Garcia. What's up, my brother? ¿Cómo estás? And remember, you cannot answer me in English. Okay? So I'm looking for that response. And Shazam, iPad producer said, I just copped the PreSonus Studio Live and it made me love mixing again. Yeah, I mean, just hang on that for a second. It's nothing like touching the faders of a mixer. You know what I mean? And I was telling you guys a couple of weeks ago about a particular console that I fell in love with years ago, the Sound Workshop 34C, which was purchased by I forget the company, but it was one of the best consoles, short form consoles I've ever worked on in my life. It was very punchy. They had one at a studio downtown, and I happened to stop in one day, and Chris Irwin, who was a producer and engineer there, let me hear some mixes that he had just did for Chaka Khan on that console, and it was crazy. It was Destiny, my destiny. I'm a ruler of my destiny. He had just finished mixing that on that console. It was killing. If you ever get a chance, look it up. Sound Workshop 34C. Okay, one of the punchiest consoles I've ever heard in my life. But yeah. But back to your point. That the Studio Live, man, PreSonus is coming a long way, man. Avid got a D up because I'm telling you, it's a whole lot of people out there chomping and buying for that piece of the pie, But I'm glad you're enjoying it primarily. Weather Music says he's been enjoying my channel. I just picked up the KT2A, the 1176 KT, and EQP thoughts on the 1176 KT. I was just saying, it's a beautiful piece, man. I know it doesn't have, it's 10 dB shy of headroom versus the UA 1176. Does that make a difference? No, I don't think anyone's going to go past 30 decibels of anything in the signal, period. It's just that extra, 10 dB at the top, helps in terms of giving you maybe a greater dynamic range. But by and large, it can hold up the light to the UA. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, yeah, man, that it's killing, man. It's killing. I can't wait to get some vocalists back in here. It's not... For me, I'm going to use it on vocals. Now, let me just, John, I'm going to get back to sonically. What did it sound like? Okay. There's something that you have to do. You must set this compressor because it is a fixed threshold compressor. Fixed threshold is the operative word here, okay? Which means you must set the compressor to unity gain. Have to. So my initial reaction was, because I didn't connect with that reality in the beginning, my initial reaction, okay, I did the typical thing. I'll put it to you this way. I plugged the mic into the preamp, fed the did the whole rigmarole. Suddenly, of course, it's insanely fast on the attack time, regardless of whether you're all the way right to its fastest setting or all the way left to its slowest. It's insanely fast. So I'm saying to myself, okay, this seems to be a common problem with most, not realizing that it had to be set to unity gain in the beginning. So I'm saying, well, seems to be a common problem with most people. And this is what I encountered. Let me show you a quick typical problem, I should say. Someone said, I'm using a reissue of the 1176, and I tried it a few times on a few different things and just wanted to be sure I had the hang of it before I asked, but man, this thing sounds great, just about everything here's the kicker. Just about everything I send into it gets slammed. Even with the input all the way down and compression set to 4-to-1, attack and release. Okay, I don't know how he had that set, but he's getting, here's another word, huge amounts of gain reduction. I seem to get the reduction meter to show just a few dB of reduction. Anybody else experience this? And I was like, oh, ding. Then that's when the light bulb went on. It's a fixed threshold. What is the threshold fixed at? Now, whereby on most compressors, you can change the threshold from 0 to -10 to -20 or whatever. You know, that's going to tell the compressor when to kick in. This thing is fixed at unity gain. Bing. So what did I do? The first thing I had to do was reach out to someone, and I remember this thing. I know most of the UA compressors, I think they have a 12 o'clock setting as unity. Someone says, you should try 12 o'clock. Then it dawned on me, I was like, oh, well, the older ones were 10 and 2. I remember the 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock thing on it. That was supposed to be the benchmark. So I tried the 12 o'clock thing, and it was like, nope, that's not unity. I'm like, you know what? Rather than spin my wheels, why don't I do this? I got out my tone oscillator, and I fed a solid tone into at 4 dB, 1 kilohertz tone at 4 dB. Okay, I'm gonna take you through the whole pace with how you need to do this thing. Set it so that I had the correct output in and out. Now, there's a process to doing that. I'm saying KLARK TEKNIK, what they did, they set it to the old school 10 and 2 o'clock positions as unity. The newer units reissued by UA are 12 o'clock in and out as unity gain. Now, to tame the amount of gain reduction you're going to get in this compressor, like I said last week, you have to be very delicate with the input setting. Now, with that in mind, the closer you go towards unity gain, the less of a reaction you're going to get in terms of the compressor. The more you raise the input past unity, the more of a reaction you're going to, the more quickly the compressor will kick in. Now, that can be good or bad. Remember this, along with playing with the input after you get it set to unity, you have to keep in mind this compressor is fast, number one. Number two, you must have your attack and release time set properly in order to avoid any problems that you would normally encounter in terms of breathing, in terms of the improper setting between the release time, the attack times. And if you want less of a reaction from the compressor or less gain reduction, you must turn the compressor in the direction of infinity. Okay? Keep that in mind. As you head towards infinity on the input, it's not necessarily changing the overall output, because don't forget, you're still feeding it a signal from your preamp, but you're just changing how quickly or how, not in terms of attack time, but how much gain reduction you're going to get in the overall signal. I've said a lot. It is probably not making a lot of sense, because the thing that as I was tinkering with it, I again, everyone's mileage may vary. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you got a vocalist, they got whack chops in terms of singing in the studio, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a problem. You might as well use a VCA compressor and be done. Or something more in the lines of an LA2A and be done. Because this thing is aggressive and you can tame the gain reduction, but it's going to take some fiddling. If you're a person short on patience, this is a compressor for you. I'm telling you that right now. Because you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be like, yo, this is not working out. You know, and then like I get back to the point. You're thinking it's you. And maybe it's the person not having the skill set to be able to have good mic technique. Maybe that's the case. Who knows? But trust me, yeah, John 4:15, you said unity is, yes, 18, right. You okay, so you must be old school dude. You know that, right? 18 and 36 in that area. I'm gonna show you all what I did. I set up, I created a guide. You guys are in terms of setting unity in this, and we'll have further discussion. But before I get to that, let me get back to a few statements. Weather music. I've been enjoying the channel. Okay. Weather music. Listen, weather music. I've never seen you here, but I just want to say thank you for tuning in. You guys don't realize that without your participation, I don't exist. It's like I'm sitting here talking to myself. And people be like, yo, he got a channel, man. He's sitting up here talking to himself. I think you need to check on that, brother. You know, so, I appreciate you being here, brother. And sonically, how did it sound? The Midas Transformer. Yeah, Midas. Listen, John, I'm going to tell you, man, you ain't going to go wrong with this thing. It can do no wrong. It can do no wrong. If you dealing with an 1176 in any level, you're going to like this unit. Okay, so I don't think you can go wrong. It just requires a light hand, not heavy-handed, light hand, and a little bit of patience, and that's what I did all week, experimenting, honestly, experimenting just to make sure that again, it's about me trying to give you all good information, okay? So when I set this guide, I'm going to send a copy of this video that I'm going to show y'all in a minute to KLARK TEKNIK, because they really dropped the ball on giving people that bit of information. The threshold, y'all, is fixed at Unity. Anybody want to chime in and correct me? Feel free to do so. I yanked out Girlfriend, and I ran tones, and I ran several scenarios, okay, to try and find unity gain, starting with UA's recommendation, okay? And I'm finding that KLARK TEKNIK set this unit up the old school unity gain way at 10 and 2 o'clock. That's your benchmark. Again, as you will see in the video I'll show you in a minute, everyone's mileage may vary. But in order to avoid the headache that this thing can create for you, if you're going to use it as a end-all be-all compressor, you have to sit with it. First, understand that your threshold is fixed, and you have to sit with it to find, this is how it reacts on a good vocalist. This is how it reacts on a poor vocalist. This is how it reacts on a guitar, bass, etc. You have to find out, and you have to make a note of those settings. I'm giving you all the old school reality. In tape, we had track sheets. And one of the things that was said is if you weren't the mix engineer, you could never give the mix engineer as a tracking engineer too much information. Because they may need, why does the vocal sound this way? You need to note that I use this compressor at this setting so that they know, well, we need to recut vocals halfway around the world, that they use this mic, this compressor, this preamp, blah, 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 so that they could recreate the same thing if they're doing overdubs with this vocalist. So you need to be able to make those notes. And you have to note, what the character of the compressor is. Or if you're just going to take it out the box and get crazy with it, I'm telling you, without knowing where unity gain is, you're gonna be disgusted. You're gonna be like, I can't deal with it because it's just like way too much fiddling, and you will see shortly. So let's take a few more. Will Meyer, what's happening, my brother? I'm glad you are here. I am glad to see you, and thank you for stopping in. Shazam says smash that. Please do, brothers. If you hate it, you hate it. You don't like it, the other one works too. You know what I mean? But yeah. Oh, here's a good thing. Mr. Pirate Brain just said you have to let it warm up. Here's another scenario I ran it through. I left it on for like, I think about 12 hours deliberately. I let it cook, okay? And I fed tones into it after. Unity gain shifted. Not by much, but it shifted. You know, I had to, get into the sweet spot all over again. It wasn't at 10 and 2. It was in the neighborhood of 10 and 2 o'clock at that point. So heat, when the components start to heat up in a unit, it's going to change. So, and that's something that one would have to keep in mind also, because I think we discount that as a fact. That voltages, gets into heat at some point, whether you're running a high level of signal or not. If it's just sitting, you haven't, it's a class A design device, which means that it is always operating, whether a signal is going in it or not. If it was a class A, B, or D, different design sense altogether. One being more efficient than the other in terms of usage of power on demand. But class A means it's always on. It's always on. Whether a signal is going through the componentry or not, it's always on. So keep that in mind. So yes, thank you for sharing that, Mr. Pirate Brain. You have, once it's warmed up, you're going to get a different, character out of it. One, if you drive the transformers, you're going to get a different character because they're hot now. As well, unity gain shifting, not by much, but by a bit. So, R&B Charles is in the house. He says, hello, good sir. Hello, my brother. I am glad to see you. I'm glad that you are here. And Armando said, bien. All right, my brother. That's good. That's good. That's good. Links for life. Yusef Bey, peace. Warren, peace, my brother. How are you? Okay, I just want to make sure I get everybody in. I'm ain't raised no person with bad manners. I just want to just acknowledge folk, because that without you all being here, I'll be sitting here talking to myself, and that's whack. So R&B Chuz, I got the live as well as investing in a 500 rack. Gotta have some analog in the mix. Yeah, man. It's funny that you're saying that because analog for a lot of people is uncharted territory, especially most of my audience. Okay, the youngsters. That's why I think you see a lot of the videos where there's just a lot of random knob turning and want to have fights about whether warm audio is better, and a lot of them. They frankly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, with all due respect to anyone who has an opinion, but they frankly don't know what they're talking about. Okay, then, and I don't mind you having an opinion, but allow your opinion to be based in some sense of reality with how you dealt with it. Give me your examples, and then you could, send me hate mail. I had one guy send me a message one time. He was very, very vile, and well, long story short, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never spent any time on the equipment, and then had the nerve to misspell something related to the equipment, but he was supposed to be the expert. I'm like, bro, first of all, you want to know about me, you can go on the website. That's my resume. I'm not going to sit here and call out names. Second, you misspelled the thing that you claim I don't know nothing about. It's not called, and then after he picked his face up off the ground, I guess he left me alone. So, but you get all sorts of folks, and my point is that you have to, spend some time with the equipment. You know, like I said, it's no shout on the young folks, but you haven't spent any real time behind a console. None. And if someone stuck you behind a console, you'd be stuck. You wouldn't know the flow if you had to work in that circumstance, you know. So it's nothing wrong with sharing. It's just that I appreciate if one would share from a point and a perspective of experience so that you could help everybody. You know, it doesn't help everybody if you're going to put, you know, rude comments about something, and who's benefiting from it other than your ego or your want to bash people, you know, because no one in the community that's reading your comment is being benefited from it. No one. So I believe in trying to share good information. Okay, Unity Gain on Will Meyer. Yes, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Soundcraft Ghost. Yusef, you have a Soundcraft Ghost. That's an old console, man, but it sounds great. Yeah. I had looked at that a long time ago when I was transitioning from tape to ADAT. I looked at the Ghost. I always liked that console. You know, that's a good, and it could be modded, man. If you're good with a soldering iron, you want to get inside and mod it and pull the old caps out. You could really yank some headroom out of that thing. That's one of the better British brands. If you have one that was made back in the early 90s, I wouldn't get rid of it. Don't get rid of that thing. Because even if the channels go bad, you could always, you know, pop the lid open, and the boards, the layout of the boards in them is easy to operate on. You know, so keep that. I'm kicking myself. As a matter of fact, when I had an Allen and Heath console, I sold it to Alan Glover. I don't know if you guys remember me mentioning last week, Alan Glover. You could check him out on iTunes. He bought, as a matter of fact, the Allen Heath from me to record, not the anticipated dawn, the second one, Kings of Infinite Space record that I worked on with Alan Glover. We recorded that on my Allen and Heath, you know, that he installed in his studio in Poughkeepsie. So yeah, those was a killing, man. So G London Kingdom Citizen. Okay, the SL is great. My first Grammy nomination, I ran drums to. Okay, my brother. Wow. Sounded good. Rest in peace, Betty Wright. Yeah, man, Betty Wright, Pastor, man, they checking out, B. Folks is checking out left, right, and center. He gets a little scary at some point, man. I'm serious, man. Wow. Last week was Little Richard and Andre Harrell. This week is Betty Wright. Jesus. Okay. So John asked the question, is Unity... Yes, we're going to get to that in 1 second. I promise you we are going to preview next week's video. You're going to get a first look, okay? Forever Low says peace. Angelo Shelter says, good day, sir. Great to see you. Listen, man, all these new faces, man, y'all done gassed the brother now, man. You making me think I'm something. But I appreciate y'all being here, really, man, honestly. I really do appreciate you all being here. Everybody, and to reiterate, I with all the new folks that's popping in, like I was saying, check the community feed next week, because I want to see what you guys are working on. I want to see the like Shazam, the iPad producer, earlier says that he had a channel, and I want to shout him out. The other brother as well. There's Frankie G. No, Shazam and Frankie G Music said he's starting a channel with strictly regarding Afrobeat music. The community out here is big, man. We all share varying experiences, and I think, you know, the course is one who knows it all is a person who's on his way out the door. You know, and the person who wants to have any measure of longevity in this business and any other type of business is the person who's always feeding his brain with new information. You know, I'm the latter, you know, so I can learn from you all, you know, even though I've been doing this for quite some time. There's always something new to learn, man. The well is so deep. Technology keeps changing. So if you can do beats on an iPad, I want to know about that, because what if I get somebody to call me up next week after this coronavirus thing, yo, man, can you pull something up off my iPad? And I'm sitting there looking like I'm simple. And maybe like, I done lost that gig, you know? Or I got to call somebody like Shazam and ask him, yo, can you give me information? He'd be like, yeah, I'll give you information. It's going to be like $25 an hour to consult, you know? So, I mean, you can never have too much info, and everyone has something to bring to the table as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's how I look at it. You know, if I can learn something from somebody, a brother is wide open, you know? So let's move forward. Angelo Sheldon, yes, got you for Los with the music. Glad that you are here. And wow, okay. Pretty soon y'all gonna have to have a brother. I'm gonna have to be like what's her name? Joy Reid. You know, she got somebody reading all the community questions to her, you know, because y'all got a lot of questions. And I want to be able to get to everybody because I don't think it's right to overlook. And I find myself, you know, overlooking some important questions because it's just so many that come through. But okay, so let's move forward. Links for life. Okay, got you. Armando asks, what's your take on A to D, D to A converters? Can have outboard converters? Yeah, man. Anytime you go with a company like a Apogee, MyTech Digital, or Orion, you know, you can't go wrong because they've been in the business of doing that thing. It's like you're not going to call, you know, you're not going to call a carpenter to take care of your plumbing problem. You know what I mean? So, which is why, you know, you'll see that I'm very brand loyal to like maybe a DBX because they've been doing it for a minute, you know. So if you get good converters by somebody that's been doing it for a minute, like Apogee or MyTech Digital, it's going to take your sound to a whole other level, you know. And ironically, I was listening to, I was telling you guys about my experiences with iTunes truncating my music. I'm telling you, when I put one of the mixes that I did for Dolores Bowman some time ago, just last week, back up just to listen to it, they leaped out the speakers at me. So my ears are telling me that the codec that iTunes is using and Spotify is harming your audio if you don't provide them with a high-res master. So that's all the more reason. If you are a person that is going, I'm not talking about just making arbitrary purchases. I don't believe in making arbitrary equipment purchases just to have it. I told you my story about doing silly stuff like that years ago. But if you know that you're going to be releasing music for a client, or if your client has demands that, you know, you fall somewhere in the chain of distribution of this music or whatever, you have to provide them with the highest level of quality product or your job. You know, so if you're getting paid to do a job, then you got to make sure you're giving your clients the best. So outboard converters are definitely the way to go. You know, now hear this. That DA3000, the converters in that thing are killing. Tascam got it on lock. You know, so you're getting the best of both worlds. You're able to come out of Pro Tools right into a high-res recorder like the DA3000. Yo, but you got it on lock at that point. You got it on lock. So my opinion is, if you can come out, the more you clocks, the better. I'm serious. I know Pro Tools, you know, and I've been listening to an insane amount of music, and my ears are not lying to me. You know, they're not lying. There's something that happens if you don't provide a high enough resolution signal. You know, and if you come out of the box, you preserve some of that horsepower, you know, which is why I'm trying to finally get my hands on a summing mixer. Excuse me. So yeah, man, get them convert. If you can, reach for the moon. You know, something that can output a signal at 192K or better. You know, if you're going to be providing, you know, a file that has to be with a file that has to have a codec reapplied to it. Like if you're going to iTunes or Spotify, you have to preserve the sound of the mixes that you heard in the studio. You got to go up. You got to go up. You have to go out of the box into 192K, 96 or 192K file. Let iTunes do their thing, and then you'll still fall within the neighborhood of a quality stream. But otherwise, you're gonna be frustrated. Like, that mix is no, that's not the same mix. And I'm telling you, I was listening to mixes last week. I'm comparing A and B. Nope, there's a difference. So let's move forward. Avalon Major, good Sunday to you, brother. Any thoughts on the ISA 110 and how it compares to ISA 1 and 1073? Just discovered it was a neat design. Yes, Focusrite is a company started in approximately, I want to not tell a lie. Focusrite was started approximately, anybody want to fact check me, in the mid 80s. As a matter of fact, Right Track in Midtown had one of the first Focusrite consoles with the blue faces. And it came at, Rupert Neve is the founder. It came at the request of, I think, Eddie Grant. If anybody wants to fact check me, we want to walk on through Electric Avenue. He was building a studio in Montserrat. So I think the first console, the first manufactured console went to Air Montserrat, and Right Track had the one of the other ones. Now, with regards to the sound, Rupert Neve in the Focusrite era used Lund Hall transformers on the inputs. Lund Hall, I think, is 1538s or 11538s, one or the other. Lund Hall is a Swedish company, I think, and they have a cleaner sound. Lund Halls, I mean, the Focusrites that you see behind me. First of all, if you see, guys, here's just for you all, for your information. If you see one on eBay for $250, as I have been seeing these things, it's a sin. It's a sin that they're going for so cheap. Grab it. Because for more than one reason. Reason number one, it's a Rupert Neve design. 1. 2, them Lund Hall transformers sound great. They're clean. May not be fair. It's not overly colored. It's clean, but there's no output transformer, which means the whole signal path is ridiculously clean. 3, it has a variable impedance, which means any microphone can be used with this thing. Okay? A crazy amount of gain. I mean, with the ISA 110, I think you have the compressor as well as the equalization in it. Again, nice, beautiful Rupert Neve designed compressors. I'm not sure if the EQs are inductor based or not. Anybody want to fact check me on that one? But if they are inductor based, then that's even better, because you know what you may be lacking on the input with the Lund Hall transformers, you can make up the difference by adding a little bit of fat and girth with the EQ. So the ISA 110 is, you see it and it's cheap. I think you're gonna wind up pretty penny for one of the older ones. The newer ones still hold up the lights. So yeah, man. Good alternatives. And for those, the Focusrite Reds also. And here's a kicker. With the Focusrite Reds, now the blues, as you see, the ICEs, Lund Hall on the input, no output transformer. With the Focusrite Reds you see behind me, Lund Hall on the input, and you got Carnhill on the output. Okay? With a nice stepped signal gain. Up those things, man. Every time I see those, you know, I try and snatch them up. So yeah. So yes, the ISA ones and the ISA 110 is a good. And if you see, you know, the ISA ones or the 1073, they're all generally the same thing, in that you're going to get Rupert Neve character. Whether it's extremely clean with the ISA ones, or a little bit of the Carnhills with the actual AMS Neves. You know, if you're looking for that sound, then you can't go wrong with those things, man. So again, if you see those ices, $100, you better grab it. Cool Drizzle is in the hizzy. He says, how are you doing this Sunday, Warren? Hey, I am doing well, my brother. Thank you for asking. I just brought the KLARK TEKNIK KT2A single channel leveling, and love it on vocals. Yes, you can't go wrong, man. It has a very, very soft, round character to it, you know, and a sweet sound because of the tubes, you know. Like I was mentioning last week, you're going to get that sweetness from a mute type of compressor, although it's an optical design triggering gain reduction. Those tubes give them the mute character that one has come to love throughout the years. JDS Music, KT11, here's a good question. 1176 or the UAD 1176 plugins. What are my thoughts? Okay, this is my opinion. Everyone's mileage may vary. There are enough videos on YouTube where people are comparing hardware to software. There's no comparison. And there's no comparison. As far as I'm concerned, there's no comparison. You are becoming one of the best companies that have provided quality modeling of these hardware pieces, but there is technically no comparison. Only your ears can be the judge. You have to buy both, sit with both, and, you know, give me your opinion. But from what I can hear, there's no, I would never reach for a software piece over a hardware piece, period. And that's just me. Hope that helps. Mr. Pirate Brain, the Behringer multi-comp compressor is great. Okay, all right. It was macaroni or something like that. He said, yeah, yeah. Links were like, yo, why you gonna dredge up all the negative stuff, man? Yeah, man, bro was like, yeah, you know, people have opinions, man. He, clown himself was in calling it macaroni. Dude, really? It's Marconi. You better not go over to the Brits and tell them, yeah, I want to replace the macaroni knob on my 1073. First, they'll probably laugh you straight out of the country, and then second, they'll throw macaroni. It was funny. You know, listen, I ain't got no time to be having arguments with people over equipment. If you would have spent any significant amount of time. What? Okay. That's all I can say. Okay. But just I popped my cherry on the Neve, okay? So we'll put that to the side. All right. Anywho, it's funny, B. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Some of the stuff, and people be sending me email messages. It's like, ouch, it's stalking me now. It's crazy. But I mean, I'm an easygoing guy. I just had to laugh at it, man. But yeah. Yeah, let's move forward. Ghost is in the mid-90s. Yes, sir. Okay, Chad Seamus is in the hizzy. What's up, brother? What's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah, man, I'm appreciative of all of you all being here, man. Honestly. Do you have any experience with the Altron stuff? No, I don't. But I do know they're seem like a newer company that's doing a lot of the same thing that most are, you know. And the only thing you could do is buy it, and if you like it, you know, there seems to be more of a boutique type of piece. That doesn't make it good or bad. But y'all know me. I'm a crack. Look what you got inside your macaroni and cheese. You know, if I crack the piece open and they got whack capacitors and whack resistors, I'm gonna know it's not gonna be able to carry signal well. Y'all heard my story about the Golden Age situation on a client gig, no less. A friend of mine said, "Try this piece out." Okay, no problem. I give everybody a shot. Got to the gig, man, and set the thing up. Girlfriend started singing, and she was killing the vocal. I had to stop. Sorry. Fiddle drops out again. I snatched that thing right out. Bap. I said, I'll deal with this when I get home. Get it home. Man, you should have saw the inside of it. It was horrifying. I was mortified. I was like, Jesus Christ, no wonder this thing is crapping out on me. It's not well made. Period. So you got to look inside. And if you know that they have quality components on the inside, you're going to get quality sound coming out. Period. It's that simple. But yeah, try it and report back. I'd like to know what their stuff sounds like. I'm not going to go out and buy it because they're a pretty new company. I haven't. Man, I got so much stuff in storage. It's not even fun. I got a whole stuff that from the analog when I had tape days. So yeah, man, I can't really go out and buy more stuff, but I am interested in seeing what it sounds like, though. Hearing rather what it sounds like. So if you come across anyone, or if you could share with me anyone who has had that experience, I would like to hear from them. Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Can you explain? Here's Ian Curtis. Ian, bro, thank you for showing up, man. I appreciate you. Can you explain the line switch on my Heritage 1073? I just means an analog synths and vocals. Okay. This is the way I feel about I would rather use a direct box if that's what you're doing. I would rather take a direct box. That's just my preference. I'm not saying that because I just don't know how the unit would react. Now, with that said, I have plugged into the line level of the warms, and I was, it's okay. It's fine in terms of certain things. I prefer, if I'm going to be doing client, work, and I know that I need no surprises, I just rather go the traditional route. That's just me. Direct box out, the direct box mic level right into the mic input. That's just my preference. But I'm assuming you can use the line level jack well without any problems. But if you experience hum, buzzing, clicks, pops, or extraneous noises, I would suggest you get a direct box and use the direct box. At least you have that 3-pin you could ground, which is going to go to ground. You could lift the ground if you got a hum or something like that. It eliminates headaches, man. That's what I'm about. Like I said, time is money. You ain't got no time in the middle of a client gig. You trying to figure out where the hum's. You ain't got no time for that, man. You got to be able to grab a direct box, bang, boom, sounds going to be clean coming out. So, that's what I would suggest. But, yeah. War body. Okay. Yusef Bey says he loves his ISA 1. The red 3, etc. Yes. Okay, let's move forward. Wow. Definitely going to check. Okay. Let me see. Okay. John PYMGG. Glad you were doing well. John, you're going to have to help me with that last. The PYMGG. Okay, I'm going to call you John, man. I hope I'm not, mispronouncing at all. But John, I can handle. The other part, I'm sure it means something, but I'm glad you were here, brother. Chaz Seamus, okay. Oratones. Here's another question to oratones for referencing mids over highly coveted NS10s, CLA 10s. Oratones versus the coveted NS10s and CLA 10s. Okay. Here you go. If I was just starting out, let's just say I spent 10 years in the business, never had a studio, and suddenly I want to start out, studio closed, I'm starting my own place. The first pair of monitors I am buying are those Oratones. The day of my life was the day that I had to part with the pair because a brother ran into some financial strain. I mean, it was a trying time, okay, in 2008. And I had to get rid of my original Super Sound Cubes. I vowed I would never do something like that again. Fast forward to right now. I reach out to the people at Oratone. I'm going to share with you all this story. I was like, went to the AES. Didn't see them at the booth. Heard they were back. Reach out to them. Hey, you guys are back. Yeah, we're back. I am the son of the founder of Auratone, and I'm doing these. I said, yo, can I get a pair for reference? Sure. Nice people in Nashville. Sends me a pair just like I remembered them. I had these paired with my sub. That is the best combination you could have as a person buying their first pair of monitors. Why? You will have no translation problems when you have to play your mixes everywhere else, because the mids are true. True mids. Will I ever part with these again, whether I'm hitting hard times or not? No. Now, I was able to get premium for those other Super Sound Cubes, but these are more like the originals. I think the Super Sound Cubes were when the design of them before were when the company moved to Colorado. Now that they moved back to Nashville, and he sent me these things, I looked at the design of them and they reminded me of, maybe I'll post a picture of me years ago. I was a kid. Had the little wire screws in the back. I'm sitting next to the console. But anyway, they went back to the original design. And by and large, and down to the original cones, the paper cones being used. So, what am I reaching for first? Those. NS10s second. CLA 10s. I ain't gonna say no more. Because y'all know how I feel about Aventone. They don't give a brother no love. They give him no love at all, boy. Be reaching out to them. Can I get a review cop? They be like, beat it, youngster. Not youngster, old guy. But they don't give me no love. As far as I'm concerned, if Chris Lord Alge can get money from all these people that he endorsing when he don't even use the stuff every day as his daily driver, more power to him. I ain't mad at him. He's an old Unique alum. You know, some of the people that from Unique Recording back in the day. So if he can get that money, I ain't mad at him. Get that money. Just like he running around endorsing, what's the other company? Heritage, the successor. I use the successor. He got the Heritage ain't doing nothing but putting money in his pocket to get the man's name on it. You think that's his daily driver, folks? Nope. He got a workflow. The man been doing this for over 40 years. You think he's gonna have it disrupted with brand new equipment? No. You know, but if he could put his name on it and get a royalty, he ain't doing nothing but padding his retirement account. Okay, so you know, I wouldn't buy no CLA 10s from Aventone. No, they're gassing people trying to get that dollar. You know, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, that's me up on the soapbox again. So let's jump back. Was it the new Premiere series? Okay, V3ZX. Was it the new Premiere series you had? You have to clarify. I'm not understanding your question real quick. Okay, and Chasima says he heard that the Luna's not doing well for the moment. You know, they got a lot of competition, man. Mr. Pirate Brain asks, do I like the... we have a lot of questions, folks. What I'm going to do, because I don't want to leave anyone out. When you think about that... Kids doing the Black Lion Bluey. Oh, Avalon Major. Yo, that Black Lion Bluey. They're another one. I'm telling you, man. Listen. Let's jump forward to the premiere because I want to be able to share this with you guys. I think it's good information. If the volume is too low, let me know and I will raise it. But again, getting back to the original point of this live stream, which is KLARK TEKNIK, if you are listening, you need to rewrite your manual to include this information. You will better serve your consumers if you do. Okay, so that's for KLARK TEKNIK. And here we go. Hold on to your questions for a minute and I'm going to jump forward. Let's watch this together. Okay, and here we go. Today, I'm going to show you how to set unity gain on your KLARK TEKNIK KT76. Welcome to the Rhythm Studio, where we're talking percussion, music production, and music technology. I'm Warren Henry. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and the alert bell so that you can be notified when we release new videos. That said, let's get into it. By definition, in terms is the point where the input signal equals the output signal. In order to get the best experience using any 1176, it is important for you to know exactly where unity gain is. So let's get right into it. Step 1. With all of the meter buttons out, make sure your input and output knobs are set to infinity. Step 2. Send a 1 kHz tone out of your Behringer CT100 to the input of your KT76. Mine is connected to a patch bay. Step 3. Press the 4:1 ratio button and the +4 meter button. Step 4. Slowly raise the input to 36 and the output to 18. Notice we are virtually at unity gain. Slight adjustments will get us there. Be delicate with this maneuver. Step 5. Toggling between the gain reduction meter and the +4 meter should demonstrate no change in the signal. Congratulations, you have just set your KT76 to unity gain. In order to get the best experience using the KLARK TEKNIK KT76, you must know where to start. Based on this video, you can trust that unity gain is 36 on the input and 18 on the output. However, it is best you verify unity gain on your unit using the steps that I have outlined in this video. In the comments below, share your experiences using the KLARK TEKNIK KT76, the Warm Audio WA76, or the UA1176LN. Like this video by giving it a thumbs up and sharing it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe and don't forget to say hello to the family for me. So yeah, that is what's going to be airing next week, and that's where I think they really dropped the ball. They dropped the ball majorly on that one, and it's okay, you know, because like I said, everybody's rushing to market to get product out, but give people the information they need directly so that they don't have these jacked up experiences with the knob turning videos that they see on YouTube, because you have to come at this unit like you would on a console, you know. And I grant the frustration that many will experience is based on having never ever had to set unity gain on or set up zero gain structure from multi-track all the way down to 2-track. That's where the confusion comes in at. And even if you strap this unit across the inserts of a console, it should not, if it's at unity gain, affect the quality of the signal going through it. It may color it, but affect the quality gain structure wise. It should not. So I had to rethink and reconnect with, okay, This unit was designed to be used in an insert in and out sort of circumstance, you know. So with that in mind, yeah, you know, knowing it's a fixed threshold, you would have to properly set unity gain, find that, and then make your adjustments. Because unity gain on a console is 0. 0 on that meter is going to be negative 18 dB in Pro Tools if you're using a console. So if you stick this unit in and it's not properly calibrated, as soon as you insert it into the channel, what's going to happen? It's going to change the gain structure. That's what you don't want to happen. But if you don't know where 0 is, you know, who can be mad at you? Nobody can be mad at you because you didn't know. So that's where KLARK TEKNIK needs to step their game up in providing the right information. The unit sounds great. It has a learning curve. Acquired taste. You must sit with it to learn it. Once you learn it, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. This thing is killing. It's killing. It's one of the better reissues. You know, and I'm not going to sit around and compare one to the other to the other to the other. But, you know, when I cracked it open last week and I saw what they put inside of it, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. So you can't go wrong. So let's jump back to a few questions. I know the brother lives in your New York area. I just wanted to get your take on this unit. Okay. Oh, if you're still talking about this guy, man, you know, people got opinions, man. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad. He had an opinion and he shared it. You know, I just directed him to my resume. That's all. I ain't got nothing to prove. I'm all right. You know, I'm trying to help somebody. You know, he trying to criticize. So without harping on the negative, let's move forward. I have Luna. Clip Wilson says, I have Luna. It sounds great, but it needs a lot of work feature-wise. Yeah, man, if they're trying to compete, you know, they're going to have to, I don't know, you know, I wouldn't have released it now, you know, just from a corporate standpoint. I would have waited. I would have, and I don't know. It's just that my approach to it from a business perspective would have probably been a lot different. You know, they have a pretty steep mountain to climb. There's no doubt about that. John Fitz, they say the Detroit, no, not the blue. They just released the mod. Oh, it's now with this new unit that's out. I think Chris Lord Alge, yeah, he has his hand in that one too. I don't know who manufactures it, but I'm called the Bluey, which is supposed to be like the Blueface 1176. He got his hand. Listen, that brother got it on lock, B. I am not. Listen, you know, everybody got to eat. You know, and this man has a resume that he's capitalizing off of. You know, you have to ask yourself the question when you're in, you know, how do you leverage what you've done to further your career? And that's what he's doing. He's leveraging, you know, his successes that he's had in the past and present against the future. You know, so I ain't mad at him. The Black Lion audio, I'm sure if what you're saying is modded by Black Lion or if it's released by Black Lion, yeah, then he got his hand in everything. B3Z says, I was asking if the Golden Age pre-73 was the new higher end Premiere series or the cheaper lines such as the 73 Mark 1, 2, or 3. It had to be the Mark 2. But in nowadays, I mean, compare the cost of that unit to like the cost of just the warm WA73. I'd go with the warm audio, man. Just from cracking open listen, you know, they say burnt once, twice shy. I'm that person. You know what I mean? You burnt me once, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You ain't fooling me 2 times. You know? Hey, that's why I got rid of ADATs. I remember I got tired of replacing idler wheels. Now here's another story for you. I'm jumping off onto this topic because about the Golden Age pre. You know, I would suggest you go with the warms. But here's the story. I remember when I transitioned at 32 tracks of 8, 4 in a rack, 1 spare, just in case something failed, right? So listen to this story. Had a client, did an entire project. Now, you know, ADATs are tape. Now, me and anybody who has used tape, they were new jacks. I was like, listen, we need to, I was like, I really suggest you leave the tapes here because I have them properly stored. I can account for them and nothing. Oh, no. I want to take my tapes with me. Okay, no problem. They took the tapes home. My parting words to them were this. 2 things. Thing number 1, this was back in the day of televisions. You remember the television had the deep backs with the tubes in them? Thing number 1, do not rest this thing near a TV. 1. Thing number 2, do not take this near microwave ovens or refrigerators. Period. Do not. Keep this tape safe and away from anything that could demagnetize it. They come back for the second part of the overdub. I stick the tapes in, I'm getting errors. I'm like, well, what the heck? Errors? I said, okay, well, let me swap them around. It's not reading the tape. They talking about, what did I do? What did you do to the tape? What did I do to it? I'm the one that said, leave it here. What you mean what I did to it? What did y'all do to it? We ain't do nothing to it. So, of course, this was becoming an issue. I'm like, look, okay. I think we need to just stop right now. Take a breather. You're going to have to redo the tracks. Redo the tracks? You're going to have to. Ain't no information on the tapes. It was information when I gave them to you and I suggested that you leave them here. You decided to take the tapes with you. That's at your risk. They got angry, snatched the tapes up, and walked out. What do you want me to do? So what I'm saying is this. Be sure. You got to be certain of what your equipment is capable of doing. If you know you're going to be working your equipment to death, which is why I got rid of ADATs, because I was working them so often, I was replacing parts often. But I knew that in replacing parts often enough, that if a client was taking the tape, to not do silly things like leave it near the refrigerator, because they will demagnetize. That's a fact. But you got to be certain that your equipment is going to be able to hold up to long days, long hours, and abuse and stress. Warm audio, as far as I'm concerned, is not up for the task. Now, if you crack it open and you could say to me, hey, listen, man, you know, I looked inside this thing, they got quality components, then, you know, maybe they stepped their game up. But I'm the person, like I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. My friend was like, here, try this out. I tried it out on the gig and it crapped out on me. And I'm like, well, okay, get it home. And it's like, oh, snap. No wonder. So I'm saying if you got to go out and you buying for the first time, never mind what version they releasing at currently, just go out and buy the warm audio. You know, buy the warm audio. You will not be disappointed. You know, just save yourself the headache. Ninja6485 says, if you are using a warm audio 1176 and you don't have a ratio button push, it will eventually cut out. You might not be able to accurately set it up unless you have a ratio selected. I use 4:1. No, you're going to have to set the buttons as I had outlined in the video. You know, you have to be able to toggle back and forth. I was giving you the baseline with all buttons out, everything dialed back to 0, so that you know you're flat all the way through, no signal whatsoever. And then you go through those steps and you'll be able to make the adjustments. But yeah, you have to find, because it's a fixed threshold, man. The threshold is fixed. So I mean, you got to know where that is. Where is unity gain? You have to know that, or you're not going to get the best signal to noise ratio, number one. And number two, you might start experiencing the FET overloading because the gain is too high on the input and you're lowering the output to compensate for this high gain. You know, you're better off just finding where the benchmark is. That is a fixed threshold compressor, and it's at 0. So you have to find out where unity gain is. Links for Life says also Black Lion is on the okay. They're Black Lion Audio. They're one of the better companies. I trust them. They're like geeky folk that are doing some great things, and they're one of the better current companies that are out here. So Yusef Bey asks the question: what Focusrite Reds have transformers on the input and output. The red series. Don't forget, when Rupert Neve first started Focusrite, it was ISA, which is the blue. You can go on Focusrite's website and they'll give you the history of the ISA series. After that, he went into just the red series after the blue series was red, where he used Carnhill on the output and Lundhall transformers on the input. You know, great information, by the way. If you go on Focusrite's website, they'll give you the whole history of the ISA console design. But I think there's only like maybe 2 ISA consoles functioning in the world, you know, and all of the rest of them have been broken out into components. So, yeah, man. Abzi says, no, I mean the mod for the KT2A and every optical compressor. You should take a look at it. It really makes it. I can't. Okay, cool. I will. I can't imagine other than maybe swapping out the photocell. And some people, I think they swap out and you got to be careful when you screwing around with the tubes, because that can change. Tubes have to be biased in a particular way. Listen, stuff like that I don't get to, because, you know, even with Manly, they advise that you swap out the tubes, you know, you have to have the whole unit recalibrated, you know, so stuff like that is better left towards someone who has the proper, you know, equipment to recalibrate your system back. Don't go popping tubes in and out of things and thinking, oh, because I got better tubes, I'm gonna get a better sound. You might be changing the calibration points of your equipment. So that's just a word to the wise. That's all. So E-Man Records LLC. E-Man, I like that, man. What am I using to stream? OBS, ScreenFlow, or Zoom? I am using OBS, sir. You know, learning it as I'm going, you know. But yeah. Abzi says, watch out for the Audio Lion TBLA. Okay, T4BLA. It's optical. Okay, optos. Okay, then that might. Listen, that's in the. You might be making a good point in that I know that they use the T4, and Warm Audio uses the actual T4 optical cells as well to trigger gain reduction in their WA2A. So yeah, that might be a very worthwhile mod. I wouldn't do it, but I mean, you know, everybody's approach to modding gear is different. It's just that I wouldn't, you know, mess around with it. I'd rather just, you know, get one already in there, you know. So John 415 asks the question, when is your video coming out on calibrating the 1176? Very good video, by the way. Thank you, John 415. It will be out next week. Okay, next Friday it will release. And E-Man Records. Focusrite is the truth. Yes. Again, if I have to go back to saying this again, guys, honestly, you can't go wrong with Focusrite gear for this reason and this reason alone. Rupert Neve's name. Period. Point blank, full stop. Okay? The man had his hand in the company. So you know you're going to get, you know, the legacy sound, you know? It's not going to be some fly-by-night sound that you're going to get. You know, that's why it just puzzles me when I see these ISA ones on eBay for like $250. I'm like, $250? Do people really realize that this is a quality piece of gear? Apparently not, because they're letting them go for next to nothing, man. So if you see one on eBay, the Focusrite ISA ones, I would suggest you snatch it, because if you can't afford a 1073, you know, I'm telling you that is a good buy. A good buy. Okay? So, Avalon Major says, for tracking, mostly analog synths, right? Do I recommend DI boxes and mic pre's over straight line in? If you're going to use synthesizers in your production, I would suggest using a direct box. Like I said, this way, you know, you have that third pin ground. any extraneous crazy noise, easily solved by lifting the ground, and you're going to have that, you're going to have that. So, all right. And, next, Yusef Base here, he paid $120 for his ice. Wow. That's a buy. That's a bargain. If you could find one for $120, yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. It just puzzles me when people, I guess, I had a friend of mine that was like that. He would try and get a hold of the latest and the greatest. That's okay, if you want to do that. But what's the point, What's the point? And, to be constantly swapping out gear like that, you don't get a chance to develop your sound. You don't get a chance to, sit with the equipment long enough to learn its character. Because out of that is going to come your sound, There's a reason why Teddy Riley was hired by Michael Jackson to do the Dangerous record. His sound. Period. The father of New Jack. You can't beat that. You know what I mean? He was the guy. So if you buy a piece of equipment and you're going to incorporate it in a particular way, it's developing your character as a producer. Like who's it? Shazam. Getting back to him again. The iPad, take the name alone. Okay? You already have identified what this man does. Okay? So with that in mind, what his capabilities are just based on name. Now, what you do in terms of your research following up on what he's capable of doing is a whole other thing. But if this man got the whole iPad production thing on lock, how you going to beat that? You can't, because that's his thing. You know what I mean? So you have to take the equipment that you have and have it help you become the producer that you want to be. That's why I don't get hung up on brand loyalty and somebody call me a warm audio fanboy and no, it's not that. It's just these are tools. What tool is going to facilitate you getting the job done? That's my approach to it. Period. Okay? So I'm not here to argue about what's better. What's better is the tool you lift up out the toolbox. Now, if you lift your tool up out the toolbox and it's crapping out on you on the gig, you know that you bought a whack hammer. You don't want no carpenter showing up, at your house with little toy Fisher Price hammer talking about my hammer and nail. You gonna hammer a nail with a plastic hammer? No. You want somebody that can, or a tool that can get the job done. These are tools. So to leave a Focusrite ISO 1 on eBay and to be able to get it for $120, if you are staring at this thing, $120, grab it. Even if you don't have use for the tool immediately. The fact that it has the Rupert Neve legacy is reason enough to drop $120 on it. Period. So, to each his own, man. To each his own. So let's get back to some questions. What do you think about the TC Electronic 8210? Not familiar with it, but the 2290, love it. You're talking about pieces that I've been, crossing paths with. Well, the 2290 at least for years. Love the sound of it. But again, keeping what I just said in mind, what have I used mostly? Every time I was in the studio, I fell in love with the Lexicon PCM70. The first time I was doing a session years ago as a kid, and I heard the Lexicon 224 XL, made my drum sound great. I could do no wrong on that session. Okay. So it's like, Wavy Engineering. Is that Wavy, Wayne? Oh man. I gotta show that. Spoil with the gas. Okay, listen, I gotta put my man Wavy in. I don't know if this is Wavy Wayne, but if it is, man, he is one of the best. To me, shouting him out. He is one of the best hip hop producers on YouTube right now, as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're talking about somebody that can't do no wrong. The brother got some serious stuff out there. And I like a person who's, you know, who's secure in what they do. And at the same time, you could tell when someone is giving good information based on real use. And that's what he's doing out there. So, let me show his comment. Bam, Wavy Engineering. If that's Wavy, Wayne, I don't know if it is, but if it is Wavy Engineering, then it's cool. They are so spoiled with that. Well, listen, he said, this is his thing. People are gear sluts, but love and leave gear. They are so spoiled with access to excess and with not understanding what it's actually for. True. Start cheap, study your gear, and use it when that's okay. Mr. Pirate Brand said, I'm dropping pearls. Here's a pearl for the masses right there. The man said it right there. I cannot say it any better. You know, because when you have so much choice, I think we were talking about R-tones versus the CLAs versus NS10s. Sometimes it can cause your head to spin. You know, you have way too many choices, which means you have to pump the brakes for a minute and sit down. You know, like I was telling you, I did a video about does expensive monitors mean better? I got about 8 pairs of monitors that I have used over in my possession. I haven't gotten rid of a pair. 8 that are in my possession that I've used through the years. The most expensive pair I have ever purchased was $1,200. They were the Dynaudios BM5As. You see them up here? No. Why? Because expensive don't mean better. They crapped out on me on a gig. I was hurt. Hurt. Thought that it was the fuse. Wasn't the fuse. Boom. Put the other one on the day. Boom. I was like, I'm tired. Call the guy. $400 to crack them open and look inside. I was like, wait, what? $400 just to do a diagnostic? Yes. I got 2 of these things. $800. Absolutely not. It was right before Christmas. I went out and took some of that money and bought them JBLs. Psh, them things are sitting on the shelf right now. I can't use them. So, I mean, you know, expensive don't necessarily mean better. You know, when I hear this, what replaced them? The Mackeys, which are great sounding. And like I said, if I had to start out again, it'd be the Artone. So, yeah, man. Clip Wilson, my brother. Shazam said he need to go get some coffee. I'm right here, brother. I'm waiting on you. But Clip Wilson said, I'm a fanboy of any equipment that works for my needs. That's what it gets down to. That's what it gets down to. Again, you talking about people dropping gems. That's a gem right there. And E-Man LLC says, does a 2290 have reverb? Yeah, that's the multi-effects processor. I think they started the whole multi-effects revolution, which I don't know if you remember Elise's Quadraverb when that first came out, had multi-effects in it. And yeah, man, they had that on lock for a little while. They were the go-to company for multi-effects units. Let's jump down. E-Man said the PCM70 is discontinued. Very hard to come by, and I don't have the $700 for equipment. Yep, but that we're talking about the Lexicon PCM70 right now. If you find one, and it's like in the $600 range, snatch it. Snatch it. Period. Snatch it. I don't know if y'all remember my story. I was at Battery Sound working with Angela Frederick. Way back. Beautiful vocalist. Very talented girl. And Laurel Frederick, if you get a chance, look him up. Laurel is nasty keyboard player. He was like so god-awful gifted, man. Laurel Frederick. Lerel Frederick, as I am saying it. He was so talented as a student at the University of Miami that he used to teach theory 4. Now, if you've ever been, I've been to music school. If anyone else who's graduated with a degree in music, you know that theory 4 ain't no joke. That's tonal harmony, you know, and functional harmony, tonal harmony on a whole other level, you know, and Schoenberg and all these other guys where they're doing 12-tone theory. He was teaching that at the age of 24. Okay. All right. So we were in the studio, long story short, at Battery Sound in Lower Manhattan on West Street. And we were doing overdubs, and it was like about 2:00 in the morning. And my man was like, we here to do overdubs. Okay, we got you fitted in. And he took out two things. This was like, we were all like just dumbfounded. The Neumann, an old age Neumann U47, okay, with I think he ran it through he had a Euphonics console at the time, ran it through the Euphonics, but the sprinkling and the icing on the cake that night was when he ran that vocal through that Lexicon PCM70. We were all half asleep when we heard that vocal. Our eyes was like, ding, literally. We was like, oh my God, like, what is that? It was new at the time, the Lexicon PCM70. Beautiful, beautiful. I think the last time, I heard that sound was when I heard the 224 XL for the first time. And the PCM70, if you see them on Reverb or on eBay for $500, grab it. Okay, so that's another little nugget for you. But yeah, I like that PCM70. Mr. Pirate Brain asked the question, did I give any opinion on the KLARK TEKNIK Peel Techs? Haven't heard them. Would love to. Maybe I can reach out to KLARK TEKNIK and they'll send me a review copy. I don't want to go out and buy them because I, can't right now for obvious reason with this whole coronavirus thing, and the whole upgrade thing that I was doing had to be put on hold. I got to watch the pennies, man, because I still have, the overhead of running this place and, taking care of my family, as you might understand. But I will reach out to KLARK TEKNIK and see if I could get a couple of review copies, and maybe I'll do a review on them. John 415 asks the question, have I seen the shootout of the $7,000 Apogee versus a $300 Tascam audio recorder? Very impressed. I'm going to buy that. Yeah, the DA3000. I forget who I was talking to earlier that I can't go back on the chat, but they were talking about using outboard converters. And yeah, those DA3000 sound pretty nice, man. I mean, listen, Al Schmidt swears by him. So if Al said they're good, then they got to be great. And I heard him, I was like, oh man, without having to actually have now Al Schmidt uses an outboard converter going digitally into the DA3000. So, that's his workflow, but I heard just the pure signal sound of the DA3000. Those converters are spot on, man. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, you said the shootout is on YouTube. Yeah, I did see one. Yeah, this sounds great. It really sounds great. E-Man Record says the Cali Audio LP6 is the monitors of the future. Yeah, there's a whole lot of new monitor companies popping up also, Listen, you got a lot of people that maybe were students of electrical engineering in college and realize, hey, man, I might as well design something, get the manufacture done in China and sell them here. So the Calis, I heard, are killing too, man. So, yeah. V3Z says, have I ever used the Universal Audio LA610 Mark II or the UA710? They're both on the market in my area for half off. Would you take one of these over the Warm 1073? I've used the Universal, the rack. I think this is 600 series one, not in my place, somewhere else. And I think it's tube driven. It's going to give you a different sound. Again, it's a tool, okay, my approach to buying equipment is like this. What is it? The first thing when I'm reaching for it, what is it going to be used for? Will it serve me well being used on fill in the blank? Because everything is not for everything. Okay? So you have to keep that in mind. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all burping all into the mic. I'm getting a little too comfortable. Anyway, listen, but if you can afford to have both, I say, or if you could afford to to add another tool to your toolbox, add another tool. The operative word is if you can afford it. If you can afford it, absolutely. You know, if I had limitless funds where I could just try everything, I would try everything. Does that mean everything is going to work for me? Nope. It may be equipment may become very job specific. Okay? Keeping that in mind when you're approaching, you know, your decision to purchase something. I'm going to use this for that. And then when somebody comes through your place and says, hey, I tried that on that, then maybe it'll open your world up to using it in a different fashion. But your main approach needs to, like if you're a bass player, right? You know how important, or guitar player, you know how important your sound is. You have a sound in your head that you're trying to accomplish. You know, you want what's in here to come out and hit you here. So if that is going to give you, if that piece of equipment is going to give you that sound, then that's what you reach for. But if you have a chance to sample a buffet of units because you have the money, go for it. I mean, that's what I advocate, you know. Avalon Major asks the question, have I gotten a chance to mix on a set of cardioid monitors like the Bigfoot Kaya Audio? No, I haven't. No, see, the thing with me and monitors is this. Again, it gets back to what you're familiar with. You know, I can't, because you got to realize that monitors have to be calibrated to your room. And there's just honestly maybe a handful of companies that, Dyn Audio included, that I can honestly say that wherever you take those monitors, they sound great. These are the companies: Adams, Dyn Audio, Genelec. Everybody else, y'all can leave now. Okay? That's if you are working, and Oratones, of course. Oratones. Everybody else, get out the room. Period. You cannot, you can't take, I wouldn't trust taking these Mackies out of here because they sound is specific to this room. They work well in this room. In order to get monitors to work well everywhere, you have to recalibrate the monitor once you get to your destination. But there's just a handful of companies that have gotten it down to a science. Adam, Oratone, because they're flat and mid-rangey, you know you're going to get that. Every room has a mid-range. But what if a monitor is very high-end specific or bass heavy? It's going to cause you problems when you go to mix in it. And there's just a handful of monitor companies that know that, listen, we need to make sure that these monitors work well everywhere. Which is why Dynes cost a lot of money. Which is why Genelecs cost a lot of money. You know, and Adams costs a lot of money because they're technical companies. They spend a lot of time making sure that that is in fact the case. So although the Bigfoots may be good monitors, I wouldn't rush out and buy them for myself because I know that they would have to translate well in this room. And I can't get them on a client. I can't take them on a client gig and have them in here for a client gig and trust that they're going to be flat sounding. You know, because it's going to require, so it's going to require you having to take your trusty little, unit, your phonic, and see how your room is reacting to that monitor. You're going to look on the frequency spectrum and see, okay, well, I know if I step over here in the room, they get a little bass heavy, so I need to treat. It becomes, that's a whole other topic, man. Whole other topic, But E-Man says about the Cali Audio LP6, the same spec as the HS. Yes, I've heard. V3Z says, thanks for the insight, Warren, and make sure that you all hit the like button. Please do. I appreciate it. Clip Wilson says, KLARK are the most bass-heavy monitors. It's almost overkill with how much bass comes from them. Yes, but great for hip-hop. Great. And then, I'm going to put KLARK in that category too, because they've been around for a minute. They're a Danish company, I think. And the Danes, which is also over there, and correct me, they're a European company, but they also have the monitor technology on lock. Yeah, very good. Very good. monitors, the KRKs. Links for Life. I picked up a pair of Adams and had to treat my room to get them sounding great. Really. I think that's just about with any monitor. But when I went to buy my Dynes, I noticed that because I spent time at Dale Pro Audio listening to them, I just knew, just based on hearing them I heard them at Chungking the first time. Okay. I was there visiting a friend's gig, and I was the ones, the BM15s. I was like, how the heck they fit a big giant? I was impressed that they sound that great in that room, in Chungking's big room. I forget which room, the one that's right off where they have the huge mainframe room for that SSL console. But they sounded outstanding in there. Then I went to the AES and heard them at their booth. You know, they had a little private room where they sat and they was demoing them. I was like, I got to get my hands on a pair of these. But I said, before I get ahead of myself, let me give the Genelex a shot. But I went to Dale Pro Audio with the intent of buying a sub and the 8310 Genelex, as well as, and I'm not a big Genelex fan, by the way. I mean, after having the chance to sit down with them at Dale Pro Audio and listening to the Dynes, I chose the Dynes because they just were so true and honest. You know, it's just that they can't take heat. You know what I mean? If you're going to kill them, you know, you got to have a tech guy that can repair them, you know, and I'm, you know, not but on any given good gig, a 4-person operation, you know, so I don't have a tech guy. So if they fail, then I got to send these things out. It's a headache. But, yeah. Anywho, grow up this and it's okay. Okay. And, let's see. We how many minutes have I been running, yo? Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up in a minute, but how do I feel about 32-bit and mixing to DSD as a master format? Have we hit a plateau with the HD 192? Nah, you know what? With DSD, I'm finding that you know, more of the purists, if you're a person that is an appreciator of classical music, and if you've gone to a symphony, you know that, and if you were in a good hall like a Carnegie or a Avery Fisher in New York, or Alice Tully Hall, you know that when you go to see the symphony or a chamber ensemble, that they are minimally mic'd, that the room acoustics plays a huge factor into the sound of the orchestra or chamber ensemble, if you will. So when you're talking about a DSD recording, like people who are going to stream DSD material, encoded material, are going to be those folks who need that huge highs and lows that an orchestra is going to give you. Because, you know, if you're listening to a concerto, or if you're listening to other symphonic works, the dynamic range is great in these pieces. Soft passages, very loud passages. You're going to have that wide dynamic range. So if you're a person that wants to appreciate all of the nuance, the soft passages as well as the loud, then you would encode to that format, because you know you're putting out classical works. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna reach out to a friend of mine who is does a lot of recording of classical music and ask him his opinion on it. You know, for in terms of providing those types of masters for either streaming from Spotify or any other of the channels, or if it's a digital radio station that I'm not that familiar with it. I know enough to know that it is a higher bit format than 192, but have we capped out at 192 on HD? No, because until the industry says so, 192 is the mountaintop. you know. And you got to think that these files are large at that point, you know, and then you're trying to push this information through a pipeline coming from the internet. So keep all those parameters in mind, you know, when you're preparing your masters, you know, for encoding. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more. E-Man says that he loves my channel. Nice. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you saying that. And I do appreciate you being here. I want everyone to understand that I'm not some, like, you know, person that doesn't appreciate folk, you know, and I realize that if you weren't here, I'd be sitting here talking to myself. So I really appreciate you guys coming through. And we're going to take a couple more. Let's quickly wrap up. Okay? A typical problem that people have is listed. You need to set your 1176 to unity gain in order to get the best experience from it. Okay? If you don't keep in mind that it is a fixed threshold compressor, you will have, you know, problems with this thing. To jump back on last week, does it hold up the light to the universal audio? The universal audio's headroom is 10 decibels higher and greater than the KLARK TEKNIK. That may or may not affect, you know, what it is, what your, you know, the signal may or may not affect the sound that you want from the unit. Having an additional 10 dB of headroom is in fact useful, but that 10 dB is costing you $2,000 more. So keep that in mind. Okay, you're gonna have that as an issue, you know, if that's what's important to you. I would say buy the unit. My first week using it, installing it, has been an experience. I've ran it through its paces. I see that they use the tried and true method of 10 and 2 in terms of setting unity, and I say you can't go wrong with it. You know, when you go left, turning it more towards infinity on the input will give you a little more of a gentle response in terms of your gain reduction. You'll get less gain reduction, maybe 2 dB, 3 dB. But if you go headlong and you leave it at unity and you go and don't have your attack and release set properly, you may start experiencing some artifacting that you don't like, and it's going to require some experimentation on your part to get it into the sweet spot. So I would suggest that you buy the unit, sit with it for a minute, and at the price point, it's a tool that you could afford to have sitting in the rack. That's not breaking the bank, you know, and it's a useful compressor, you know, along with the warm audio or versions of the LA2 as well as the KLARK TEKNIK, you know. So there you have that. Okay, DSD is great, but there's also 32-bit 384 kilohertz. Yeah, but I mean, how high is high? You know, so 384, that's twice 192. You know, so do you need that much horsepower, you know, to make sure that your mixes translate well? I don't think so. Anything above 96K at this point should be fine, knowing that if you start getting to these like super duper high bit rates, your file size is going to increase. Okay, so with that in mind, I am going to say that this has been good. I just want to make sure that my brother from the UK, Gerner, what's going on? You kind of late to the party, bro. You a little late to the party, brother. Looking for you. Wanted you to weigh in earlier. But if for those who don't know, I'm going to shout out the Gerner one right now because a very, very talented producer out of the UK, does some great music. I'm trying desperately to get him to feature his studio. I want to do live features with you guys studios on the live stream, because it becomes a little bit more interactive. But Gunnar, I appreciate you being here, brother. I know it's a big difference in the time, and it's a sacrifice for you to probably be up at this hour, but I appreciate you being here, brother. I just want you to know that. But yeah, but it's all good, and this has been good. And look for the video next week. I'm going to reach out to KLARK TEKNIK as well, letting them know they need to revise that manual, that little pamphlet, you want to call it that. They need to do a better job, man. They need to do a better job than that. And don't be just gassing people, getting them all, worked up over your equipment, and then you give them some little leaflet talking about this is the instruction manual. Now you underserving folk. Then they're telling me that you just in it for the money, not in it for the quality of or the heritage or the legacy of what it is that you're replicating. You got to give people the whole enchilada, as they say. Don't be half stepping, and not giving out what folks need to get them going and going well. I think that's why all the questions surface with regards to whether or not the unit is good. Now, we all know, based on last week, I cracked it open. Y'all saw it firsthand, some of you, that they put quality components. Good. What's the bad? The bad is that they put out a whack manual. It's not even a manual. It's a pamphlet. And they could do better. If they want to compete, you got to step their game up on all fronts. That's the warranty. That's everything. Now they got the 10-year warranty thing, but okay, is that all that's the only selling point you're giving people? Get them started and started well. I mean, at least let them know that they need to, properly calibrate their equipment so that they get the best use from it. So that's the bad. The good is that it's a decent piece of equipment and worth having at the price point. So with that in mind, I am going to say thank you for stopping. Thank you. Okay. I don't know who cares, but I'm going to share. The reason why I say thank you for stopping by, thank you for stopping in. For those who have subscribed, I appreciate you. But if you haven't, please subscribe. And don't forget to say hello to the family. My mentor used to say that to me. Professor Stephen Jablonski, one of the greatest, most impactful persons I have ever met in my life. He has had such a profound effect on my musicianship, as well as me as an individual. He would ride my behind like Zorro when I was in school, like it was nobody's business. I love this guy to death. Great composer. Look him up. He's on, as a matter of fact, he just started a YouTube channel, Dr. J, as I call him. So if you get a chance, go on Dr. J's YouTube page and listen to some of his compositions. And he used to always close out our theory classes like that. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping in. Please say hello to the family, But for those who are interested, that's why I say that. Okay. Destroyed the mic. Okay. Much love, my brother from another mother. Gurner says peace. You said peace and love, my brother. I'm super late. The rhinoceros voice said, I'm super late. That still wanted to show support. Listen, I appreciate you, brother. Before we sign off, though, let me know quickly if you are the one that gave the education on the history of the 1176. I'm going to hang out for a minute because I need to know if you're that guy. If you are that guy, the rhinoceros one, let's just hang out for a second. This dude dropped a huge bomb of information on me. I mean, he was like a wealth. You ever met a person that like just knows their stuff? This brother knew this stuff, the history of the company and everything. I was like, where were you on the last live stream? So let me hang out for a minute. The rhinoceros run, you got to tell me if you the guy. Because I get so many people reaching out to me and I really want to know if you are he. And then I will share with everyone in the community post exactly what you shared because I think it's important information. Okay, so let's give him a minute. And E-Man, blessing. Thank you. Great live. John, thank you, bro. Secret Armor says, have a good rest of the day. Thank you, my brother. Wish I could take credit. It wasn't him. Okay. Well, anyway, I will leave that information in the community post, but the man was a wealth of information with regards to the revisions of the 1176, the company history. He was like the guy. Okay. So, I thank you all for stopping by, really, honestly. Without you being here, I'm sitting here talking to myself, and that's whack. Okay. So I really appreciate you guys, and, be safe in this time and in this season, and, take care of the family, because that's important. And until next week, I will see you then. Everybody, have a good afternoon.